now that I have the repair stand removed from the shipping packaging and the components that weren't installed at the factory laid out on the rag, I'm going to go through the final assembly of the stand and get it ready to go into use. So first pieces I'm going to get put onto the uprights are going to be the stainless steel dropout plates. I've got 2 of these, and they are directionally specific, and what we're going to use as indicators for that are 1, the through axle cone, and that's going to be facing towards the middle of the truing stand, and 2, the axle slot, and that axle slot is going to be facing towards the mechanic or the front of the repair stand. So each of these stainless steel dropout plates are going to be held in place by 3 fasteners, and there's no need to install any grease or thread retaining compound onto these when you put them in. Thread these in there and tighten them up. We don't have a torque spec for these. Just get them in place and give them a good snug. So there's the first side, and again, directional indication, through axle cone facing towards the center line of the repair stand, axle slot facing towards the mechanic. Here are my 3 additional fasteners. Get these in place. And one of the nice options that you have with the stand is the fact that you can take it from the configuration it arrives to you in the box, and that's what we're going to come out and call a right-handed configuration. And by exchanging the position or orientation of a few components, you can turn it into a left-hand dominant truing stand. So I'll go through that in a future video, show you the pieces that need to be repositioned or reoriented to make it a little bit easier for a left-hand dominant mechanic to go to work with it. So I've got my 2 stainless steel dropout plates installed. I'm going to continue working at the top of the uprights, and the next piece that I'm going to install is going to be the indicator that we can use to verify how straight our disc brake rotor is. So we've got a machine slot at the top of the upright, and I've got a corresponding nut on the back side of the silver fastener here, and the green arm that's holding everything together also has a square raised section that's going to align with the outside of the slot there. So I'm going to do my best to line those 2 elements up, and just go ahead and bring that down to the bottom, and I'll snug the indicator in place. And the range of adjustment for the indicator is going to cover what seems to be the common range of disc brake rotors today, 140 millimeters up to 220 millimeters. So I've got the top of the stand assembled. I'm going to move out to the extension arm or the truing arm there, and I've got 2 components that I'm going to install there working together as one piece. And the first piece the first of the 2 is going to be the articulating arm, and this arm is going to thread into threaded hole here in the truing arm of the stand, and I'll get that in there. And again, similar to the fasteners I've installed up to this point, no reason to apply any grease or thread locking compound to this. And once I get it there, I'm going to go ahead and snug that up with a 14 millimeter open end wrench. Now, the indicator itself is identical to the indicator that we're using for the rotor, and they share the same green tip on there. These tips, if you happen to damage them or you want to change them to a different color, they are the same thread pitch as a Presta valve cap. So pretty easy. Find a bunch of them laying around on the floor, I'm sure. And the important component of this and how it's going to interact with the articulating arm is the stainless steel sleeve, and this has got an 8 millimeter clamping surface, and that's going to come into play a little bit later on in a additional video where I take the stand from the fixed indicator and move it over to the Mitutoyo setup that's available, Mitutoyo dial indicators there. So there's enough real estate to just pass the green indicator through there and just butt the stainless steel up against the articulating arm and snug that in place. Now, the articulating arm, ready to get it positioned to be able to identify the radial condition of the wheel, and you could also use it for lateral condition if you saw that and you like the visual there. So the last component that I'm going to install here to get the stand ready for use is going to be the hand crank knob. And I've got here, rotate over to the other side of the stand, and I've got my main knob here. You can make all the adjustments for opening and closing. You're securing the wheel in there with this, but you've also got the opportunity to add the crank knob on there. Now, the bolt that is going to retain the crank knob is one spot where you could apply a little bit of light duty Loctite, 242 or blue Loctite on there. And by installing that Loctite, it's going to allow you to do is that once this fastener is installed, we can set it so that it allows the knob itself to rotate freely while we're operating the truing stand for opening and closing the upright arms on there. That blue Loctite will help to guarantee that the bolt doesn't back out, because depending on the rotation, we may see some forces that want to unthread that fastener from the truing stand. So at this point, we've got the truing stand, and the additional components that were included in the box have been installed, and it's ready to put to use.